Okay folks, so one of the late spring projects, which is turning into a bit larger than I thought, involves moving the big planters like you see at the bottom from here to here. Now, as it turns out, the three different planters, two of them were built with painted wood. This is the third one. It wasn't built with painted wood, but I don't know if the wood was ever treated with anything. So since I'm planning on planting vegetables, I want to make sure that it's going to be safe to plant vegetables. So what I did was I actually pulled all the dirt out of there. I think you can see that. And I separated actually the dirt from the perimeter. I pulled that out separately from the dirt in the middle, because the dirt in the middle, let me actually move this. Let's give you a little better view here. The dirt in the middle was sitting directly on top of cedar boards. So those I'm not worried about. It's the wood on the outside that I'm not too sure about. I've separated that dirt, mostly. It may not be 100%, but 99 is good enough here. Separated it out. I'll use the dirt from the perimeter for planting flowers in other areas, and I'll bring in extra dirt, extra soil, I should probably say, to fill in the balance. But before I do that, what I actually want to do is deal with the wood, which I don't know if it's been treated with anything or not. And I'm going to do that by lining the inside here with more cedar. Now it also turns out if you look at the blocks in the corners, that's what kind of holds it together. Well, unfortunately, let's see if I can show you this. It didn't quite work. The boards, the way I mounted them, actually broke. If you look very carefully, you can see how the grain is running parallel to the boards across the back there. It should have actually been running perpendicular, and then the wood would have had that much more strength. But I think I'm actually going to get those blocks out and use the lining to actually secure the the top and bottom level together. So that's what the plan is. Let's see how it goes. Oh, before I forget, the other thing I want to deal with here is sealing the wood. I'm going to end up painting it ultimately, so what I need to do is actually brush off the inside. I'm going to remove those blocks, I'm going to brush off the inside, and then I'm going to prime both frames. Once I have it primed, the paint can come later, but the primer will actually seal it. So that's the plan. Okay, so that takes care of getting rid of the blocks. Now I'm going to brush it clean. Okay, so here's the bottom half all brushed off and ready to go. I think I'm going to prime, and then I'm going to quit for the day. Well, that took a little longer than I thought, but looks a bit better. And that's just the primer. I still need to line it. And then eventually paint it, but I'm going to line it, then I'll fill it back up with soil, and then we can get to planting. And at some point I'll get around to painting it. But that's it for today. I'm kind of glad I decided I'd quit after priming. That's it for now. Okay folks, so now it's a couple of days later, and wanted to show you that yesterday I painted. I was going to hold that off till later, but I just wasn't feeling as good yesterday, and it seemed like painting was simpler than cutting all the wood. And if you can see, I've cut some of the wood for lining the inside with cedar. That's what you see in sort of the far corner there. Theirs are sort of propped up right now, they're not nailed on, but that's the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and line this with cedar so that I know it's food safe, and we'll go from there. Okay folks, so now it's been lined, and the next step is going to be filling it with soil. At least I think it is. I keep changing my plans, but that's it for the moment, and I'll tell you the next step. Okay folks, so it's now the next day, and I don't know how well you can see this with the sun being the way it is, but I've now started filling it with soil, and what I'm doing after a little bit of calculating to try and make sure I extend my free compost appropriately while also giving enough nutrients to the soil, I'm basically running about a 25% mixture here. 25% pure compost to 75% of the old soil that used to be in there. I actually may run low on the old soil, but we'll figure something out. There are a couple of other places where I can swap out the soil for the stuff that may be contaminated that I'm using for flowers. But anyway, that's kind of what the plan is here, 25%, and I'm going to fill this almost all the way to the top, and I'll probably throw a layer of pure compost on the top of it, which will then leach down, but also give any seeds that I plant a good surrounding to start. So that's the plan. I'll get back to you when it's done. Okay folks, so I've got a couple of minor corrections. Number one, I said that it was 25% mixture, but 4 plus 1, 4 of 1, how can I say this? 4 of the original soil plus 1 gallon of the compost makes it actually a 20%. And that's as far as it actually got with the existing soil with it all mixed together. So I kind of hemmed and hawed and tried to figure out what to do, and finally I decided to go ahead. Home Depot had a sale for Memorial Day, and it was 4 bags of Miracle-Gro garden soil for $10. Not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and just put that on the top and incorporate it in like it says to do. So I'll be mixing the garden soil with the soil I have here, and that should get me right to the top. And I bought 4 bags, so I should have enough to cover all 3 planters and have some left over. Not that I really need that much more soil, it's just I wanted to have soil that wasn't contaminated. So there we go. Let me fill it up and I'll show you that. Okay folks, that's 1 planter finished. That's about as full as I'm going to make it. I imagine the soil is going to settle at some point, but maybe I can throw some compost on top of it, which would be a good thing. I took about 3/4 of a bag, which says it's, how much does this say? 1 cubic foot. So that's where we are. Now it's time to start the second planter. So until we get there.